Hello, this is Pastor Beth. I have been reading an article today written by Jim McKnight, and he says that God is working on a global reset. And this is what he says. When communications go dark, that is when God will be taking down the global swamp and the major principalities that control them. It could last 2 to 3 days to 2 weeks. Cast off fear, much communication will go down temporarily. This will be God's doing in order to reset justice and righteousness in all nations. After the period of time passes, the world will look different. God says you will be saved from things that you didn't even know existed yet. God will be taking down the global agenda that has been trying to force its way in. It is at a breaking point. It's not a time to leave, but a time to lead. What we have been praying, prophesying, and waiting for is almost upon us. When it happens, I will rest knowing what is happening. I will be on my knees agreeing with God in prayer during the temporary blackout. So look forward to his glory filling the earth. In Isaiah 60 verse 2, for behold, the darkness covers the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Get ready for the harvest. Now, there are some that say that this is possible if we look at the generalities of prophecy, such as ushering a new heaven and a new earth, or a time when Satan is bound. Or what about the coming of Jesus to rule and reign for 1,000 years? Is this the clue to the global reset or the great reset? Let's be clear to distinguish between the two. The great reset was established by a think tank through the World Economic Forum, run by 1,200 of the richest companies in the world. Some of them you might recognize: AstraZeneca, Barclays, Coca-Cola, Facebook, the Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, Google, IBM, MasterCard, Nestle, PayPal, Reuters, Volkswagen, Unilever, etc. This is far more widespread than any one country. This swamp is trying to take the place of the one living God. They are trying to redistribute wealth, resources, and restructuring world economies. The global reset is a move of God where he promises to come back. Let's discuss some scriptures, okay? In Deuteronomy 15 and 16, God instructed to free the slaves in the year of Jubilee, or the sabbatical year, where debts were forgiven. People celebrated equality and allowed the land to rest to prevent famine. Any farmer will say the same thing. By resting the land, future yields are better. If one loses the land, their life is lost and or unsustainable. In John 14, verse 2 and 3, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. For I am going away to prepare a place for you. And when I go and make ready a place for you, I will come back again and will take you to myself, that where I am, you may also be. Often I hear, why is this happening? In 2 Corinthians 4:4, sums it up really nicely. In their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. In 1 John 3:8, whoever makes a practice of sinning is of the devil, for the devil has been sinning from the beginning. The reason the Son of God appeared was to destroy the works of Satan, the devil. 1 John 3:10. By this it is evident who are the children of God, and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is the one who does not love his brother. Concerning the 1,000-year reign, this time is necessary for God to fulfill various promises he made to the world. Covenants were given directly and specifically to Israel. This will be known as the time the promise kept. What does the Bible address that may indicate his global reset? In the Message, Jesus says this: watch out for doomsday deceivers. Many leaders are going to show up with forged identities claiming, I am Christ the Messiah. They will deceive a lot of people. When reports come in as wars and rumors of wars, keep heed and don't panic. This is routine history. This is no sign of the end. Nation will fight against nation and ruler fight ruler over and over. Famines and earthquakes will occur in various places. This is nothing compared to what's coming. The moral condition in 2 Timothy 3, verse 1-5. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with them. If a ruler commands that the people obey his rule over the contrary to what Scripture says, we are instructed to obey God. This is seen when Daniel defied the king's order to worship him. Daniel declined and worshiped God, just as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did with Jesus. They refused to bow to the king. We have every assurance that God is with us. In Acts 5, verse 29, we must obey God rather than man. God is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He rules with righteousness, sovereign and just judgment, all to his glory. Thanks for watching Over and Out God's Way. This is Pastor Beth.